Hello everyone, my name is the Mad Scorpion and welcome back to another This Week in Destiny update for March the 20th. Now getting into it, there is a lot of stuff I'm going to just generally blow past. Aside from a few things, at the start we do have our basic days or results for Guardian games so far, with Titans in the lead with 6 wins, Hunters at 3, and Warlocks at 0. They are really lagging behind. They also make a few notes that basically saying the All-Star Vector Skimmer is now available in case somebody wants one of these surfboards. As well, they did mention that there will be, new armor available, or the new armor and stuff for Silver and Bright Dust, as well as a variety of other things. Double perks earnable if you do better in Rushdown, that sort of thing. Then the Rushdown Roulette, they mentioned some of the winners, as well as ways you can earn this free emblem in case you wish to follow along. And then for this PvP Strike Team update, there's not a lot they're talking about really in terms of changing modes. A lot of this is how they're changing rewards in terms of points, as well as matchmaking to adjust things. There's nothing exactly that is changing the game, aside from matchmaking and rewards in terms of ranks and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to blow past all of that, as it's pretty general and very specific. But then in terms of Eververse, they made some notes. In a few cases, at least 1, 2, and 3 right here, I'm going to sum up the best I can. With some Warlock class items, there was a shader, the Mad Monk, from back in Season 3 of Destiny, that basically when applied, it would remove a glow. They fixed it, but at the same time, they realized this is another feature or another bug that should become a feature. With that, they will be releasing a Bright Dust shader that will essentially remove any glows and can enable, basically, Warlocks not having a bond, as there are some class items that are just straight glows, and with this shader, it would remove the glows as well. So it basically is a way for you to remove your bonds in case you so wish to for your fashion. And as well, similar state with the Stasis Drake Hunter ornament, basically, they're adding a hood optional scenario where I believe before it was no hood and then they rolled in a hood. Well, they're making it so in the future that there will be a optional hood. Same thing with the Heart's Pledge ornament. Supposedly there was a weird mix with various Guardian body types, and in the same issue they made one version that has the cloth and one version that does not. And in the case of both options 2 and 3, basically Stasis Drake and Heart's Pledge, there will be duplicate items introduced that will be available at no extra cost to players who already own the ornament. So in case you liked one version better than another version that has been revoked or otherwise instituted, that will be a reverse card that you can play out in the future once they have officially updated it. In the same note, they did follow the conversation about holo chips and loving it. There is, more coming hopefully in the future and that sort of thing. Now the Grandmaster Nightfall node, which I will admit I am kind of iffy about. But with the what's better than being a conqueror, being gilded conqueror, specifically one more way than you already have. Well, good news, the Grandmaster Nightfall catch-up node went live this past Tuesday, while Sunless Cell will be coming in Act 3, because, fun fact, apparently it was available initially last Tuesday. You will have access to the rest of the episode's Grandmaster Nightfalls and begin working towards gilding your title, so jump in and grab some wild-style adepts while you are at it. Though with so much to do now, we'll never forgive you, or will forgive you if you change your time. Not gonna lie, I think I'm gonna make a video covering on how Grandmasters as a total just have kind of gotten boring, so to speak. I'll touch on that in its own separate video, but I feel like they have been hitting the same Grandmasters over and over again, and as much as Grandmasters should be difficult, they shouldn't be as difficult, or at least there shouldn't be such a selection of all of the difficult ones, if that makes sense. I'll move on more on that later. But then the account unlinking updates on February the 13th, a shared important update right here regarding account linking on Bungie.net. We support the link of multiple authentication methods to a single Bungie.net profile, and we continue to allow linking across accounts in this manner. The upcoming update will remove the option to unlink an account once it's been linked to your Bungie ID. The only exception will be Twitch. On March 25th, in 5 days from now, the new policy will go live. The goal remains the same: to protect integrity of players' accounts, simplify, bleh. But basically, if you want the full information, that is there. Now, there is the Exotic Armory Collection, which is basically some of the real-life stuff you could buy after earning. Basically, after you earn either the Barrow Dyad, the Slayer's Fang, or the Choir of One, if you wish to have a little mini-scale replica to keep on your desk or just as a collectible, you can go ahead and do that throughout the Bungie store and the Bungie Rewards page. But keep in mind, they're pretty small. They're not one-to-one replicas or anything like that. Then, with the next week in Destiny looking forward, Trials will be around, so, there is that. So there is the Heavy Burst Hand Cannon, yesterday's question, featured in, let's see, that's this week in Trials. And next week, let's see, a Certain Void SMG, I guess that is new on the list. Then the final week of Guardian games will be next week, as this is week 2, and these always run for 3 weeks. So make sure to earn any triumphs, grab rewards, anything you need, and be among, let's see, Well, basically just play it until it runs out in case you need anything. As well, with the story of Heresy, it shall continue, not to get spoilery, but help heirs with the plan, it's big thing. Now for Nightfall rotation, next week is Psyops Battlegrounds Moon, which is supposedly rewarding the Slammer's Sword, in case you wish to go for that next week. Momentum Control will start with next Tuesday, in case you wish to hang out in the Crucible and have some SWAT-style gameplay like old Halo SWAT modes. Now for some known issues. Basically, a lot of it's similar to last week, or one-to-one from last week. And speaking of vendors, you can hear ambient dialogue in the background. Ionic Sentry sometimes doesn't chain lightning to enemies. Steps 6 and 9 of the Drowning Labyrinth quest can't be completed by some players, and it is character scoped, not account scoped, so you'll have to swap back and forth between characters to work it. Sometimes the derealized exotic mission, the Taken Relic, can drop below the Surfic and the Virsic encounter. When damaging Shrieker bosses in Sundered Doctrine, you get yellow numbers when it's actually white number responses. When tracking Ikora's Drowning Labyrinth quest, completion of a certain step may stop progress on the next steps. Sometimes the Tone of Want primer does not progress after meeting step 3 and 4 requirements. Memento shaders can be previewed in the armor screen, not intended. The Lotus Eater rocket sidearm shows incorrect numbers in the kill tracker, and Guardian 11 Triumph Solo Spelunker and Master Spelunker displays Vesper's Host as the requirement, which would be Sundered Doctrine instead. Specifically for Guardian games, Rushdown Completion Chest does not award a waypoint indicator. 4 daily bounties only show the progress bar for one element. This will not affect progress, and the weekly milestone is partially cut off when viewed in the title screen. Although, unless it's something terribly game-breaking, any issues for any events should really not be focused on for fixing, because the event will disappear before anything can really be made a problem of it. And with that, we have some arts as well as movie of the week. And with that, that is the end of this week in Destiny, which, just to kind of touch on it before I make the separate video, what I'm thinking about regarding Nightfalls is basically that it doesn't feel like it's at all, how do I say this, variety anymore. There usually was a Nightfall you could run that was always the easy Nightfall, like, say, Saber, the original Inverted Spire. There was a few other Nightfalls that would almost always be on the list of Nightfalls. There would be the easy one, then you had some hard ones, and then you had some not so easy or hard ones. But then recently, especially looking at this season's roster with multiple battlegrounds, things like the Light Blade, I forget for certain. But I remember looking at the list, getting incredibly just unmotivated to try for it. And probably am going to let a streak of gilding every conquer every season slip, just because these Nightfalls just don't look fun to go through. No, they're not supposed to be fun, they're supposed to be a challenge, but in that same respect, Nightfalls 2 years ago used to be a fun thing to go through Conquerors for. Now it is looking at it and sighing because they have to go through LFG and see who is around, and usually once it's towards the end of the season, there's practically nobody running them. And so it just kind of becomes a, do I give up on it or do I continue? And I'm probably going to give up on it, officially. But with that, that is the end of This Week in Destiny. That is a little rant. I will probably make my own perspective video in it in the future, so keep that in mind in case you wish to follow up on that. But with that, I will see you in the next video.